BCS is definitely like a scary movie. In Act 1 of a horror film, you're just trying to survive, trying to make it round by round, running from the monster. But in Act 2, you can flip the script, where you are the monster, as you try to become the greatest to ever play. Being back here at BCS Rosemont is like unfinished business for me. As y'all know, I played the premium tournament last year, and I also did the standard one, playing back. Now, I did terribly in the standard tournament, finishing 357th place, so let's hope to improve. It is because of that tournament experience, as a returning player to Cardfight Vanguard as a whole, I now feel more mentally prepared, mentally ready, and just know what to expect throughout the day, so I made a deck choice that I thought would give me success throughout the whole tournament. So really quick, I wanted to show you guys the deck that I'm playing at BCS Chicago. We're playing it in this really cool IG deck box I have from way back when, and we're going to reveal our deck in some really nice white sleeves into our now sleeves to a bunch of tokens, all that to reveal it's just Vygrilla. Yeah, I just wanted to look back in time and see what we're playing. This is a really good way to do so in October 2025. So we're running Spark Kid Dragoon, it doesn't matter. Vygrilla, grade 1, grade 2, this gets the crit on turn 2, and then Vygrilla grade 3 because you need the Vygrilla grade 3. Next we got 4 Elf Knights for the rewrite ability, 5 attacks is good, 2 Persona just to generate big numbers, 2 Fanfare just to power up your Ezra rearguard and make sure you can countercharge and draw. This deck combos with itself because this searches this, it's really good. Ezra, of course you need to play this. This is your restand target, power up target, and synergizes with the Vanguard just because it has the mate unit with Vygrilla. Next for text, we have the Scythe Girl for binding Bavsargra units. Really, that's all it's used for. 1 ace unit, basically upstart goblin, draw a card, get 5k, and retire something. And then 2 Hakusen Rembrandt. This is really good on your turn 2, being able to call plant token, power it up, and give the skill that if something's placed by your card's ability, give it 5k so it comes well to start displayed, or give 10k to your Vanguard to power it up for a huge swing. Next for our orders, we are playing one of each of the ultimate skill 1, Star Displays, Blazing Star Cross, power up your Ezra, power up your Vanguard. Being able to check top 5 is broken. Sometimes you want search this and try to get lucky, or Blazing Star Cross, power up your Ezra, give it a critical, and make sure your opponent can't guard. And then Twin Cast and Defensing Roar for defensive options. We play 4 Nimrim. Being able to search grade 3s is good because you need Alpha Knights to combo anything. 4 PGs, all hollow. These are pretty. 4 Shenri to draw cards. It's really easy to get this off because you do play orders, and then 2 Flare Cosmore because it combos with Ezra, being able to restand. Even if you have 2 of these on the field and not a second Ezra, as long as you have 1, as long as the Ezra stands, it will stand as well. So you could potentially get off 5 attacks fully boosted. It's really good for that reason. That's why I really like playing 2. And then for triggers, 8 crit. Need to find the 4th Conduct Spark Hollow. 3 draw. And then 2/2 on the heels, counter, and that, and then 1 copy of I Win the Game if I check this turn 2. So that's it, that's the deck. That's what we're going to be taking to BCS Chicago. I just wanted to give you all a quick rundown before we get to the tournament. So, wish me luck. Alright, as y'all can tell by the outfit change, we are back in Texas. I'm here to tell you all about BCS Rosemont and how I got my first ever Vanguard top. This was such a surreal moment for me, and I'm incredibly grateful just because, you know, I've been in this game for as long as I can remember. My parents got me a starter deck in 2013, and dating way all the back to then, I've made 11th, 29th, 23rd, 24th. And I've always been kind of pushing, and then when they expanded to top 32, I actually wasn't playing the game, and I finished 357th the last time I played a BCS. So I was always hoping to improve on that and finally make it to the top. I made 3rd after Swiss, but that's not how the whole tournament went. So let's hop right into it. So here we go, BCS Rosemont 2025. Round 1, we are up against Krysrain. Krysrain and Lyrical as a whole is genuinely something that I don't have much matchup experience against, so I really leaned on what my deck is best at, early rush. It's because of that I actually opened up my Cabbage and was able to push him to a high damage count early, forcing more cards out of his hand. It's because of this, even though he went first and I went second, I was actually able to constantly put on pressure on him from turn 1, because I also opened up a Flare Cosmore that I could use to attack early. It is because of this, when he was finally able to ride his grade 3, he was only left with like 4 cards in hand, and although he was able to generate that advantage back with his Krysrain abilities, returning cards to hand, he didn't necessarily see the pieces at the right time, so when I went into Alpha Knights for the first time, it actually pushed him immediately to the brink. And although he had a heal and a crit to help push me earlier, it just wasn't enough just because the power output that Vygrilla could provide helped us secure a round 1 victory. Round 2, we were up against Chronojet, going second. So going second against Chronojet definitely gives you an advantage, especially with the deck that I play. 1 is so that they can't stride, and 2, we get to hit off our first Alpha Knights. But let me tell you guys, something about this game, both me and my opponent were not hitting triggers. Like, I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. There was really no triggers seen on both ends. So it was honestly, until the very end, a honestly good, clean game of Vanguard. We were just getting off our effects, they got to stride, I got to use Alpha Knights. And I almost considered staying stuck at grade 2 so they can't stride, but then I realized I needed to ride up to try and hit some of those pieces and get the twin drive, because if they were hitting triggers back at me, I don't think I would have been able to guard properly, especially with the output of the crest. Although the game went back and forth, my final push with my second Alpha Knights of the game with a triple drive and hitting a well-timely crit ultimately was the difference in securing the game for me. I actually played against somebody who watches Winning Image. It meant a lot to me to hear some of the things they had to say about the channel, and it really means a lot to me that I got to meet a lot of y'all this weekend. More on that later. Alright, next. Round 3, we were up against Undercover. Now, Undercover is always an interesting match for me, just because I do have countless matchup experience on this deck, just because one of my best friends who plays Vanguard plays it as well. I really think it is that matchup experience helped me because as a returning player to Vanguard as a whole, I don't know what a lot of decks do fully, but Undercover is a deck that I kind of know inside and out. And it is because of that matchup experience I was able to keep the game moving along. And although I went second, I knew how to optimally defend his major push turns as well as his first grade 3 attack to make sure that he wasn't able to generate much advantage or hit me with well-timely attacks. Because the last time I actually played against this deck, I was in essentially like a first and second matchup at locals, and I didn't optimally guard correctly, so I used that experience to make sure that I didn't make the same mistakes twice. And it's because of that we were able to get the job done and reach 3-0. Then when you're 3-0 at these BCSs, this is when you start to face, I feel, a lot of the meta decks and mirror matches of your deck, especially if you're playing one of the decks that is considered a top deck. And although that wasn't me throughout the whole tournament, I actually dodged all the Vygrilla mirrors, I ran into a very scary deck in round 4, Prison. Prison, I actually played against a guy named Chris, who was actually super cool. We played in both Standard and Premium. And for Standard, he was using Prison, and for Premium, he was using D-Police. So, Prison is always an interesting matchup for me because if you get ahead early, they have a hard time coming back. I also had the rush play with Cabbage, pushing cards out of his hand early. Furthermore, I also did right by myself by guarding early, and on his Prison Soul Charge, he hit his over trigger, so I was able to actually guard pretty optimally throughout the whole course of the game. I kept myself at 2 damage because I feel with this deck, Vygrilla, that's all you need to really make plays. And I know that he had Seraph Pure Light, and with how much criticals and damage that deck could do in one turn, I wanted to make sure that when he pushed me, I was able to comfortably take damage. And that's exactly what happened. So, after my first Alpha Knights, he was left with maybe 4 cards in his hand after a dry triple drive check. And one of the advantages to having a deck that is rearguard dependent is that you're able to put some of these rearguards into the prison and be able to call them out later. So although he wasn't able to generate much of a hand and all that stuff, I was able to essentially, due to guarding early, take his big attacks, one of which was 3 damage, to send me to 5, and guard optimally because he didn't have cards ready to attack across his whole field. So, as mentioned, I put all my combo pieces into his prison, so when it got to my turn for the second Alpha Knights, I had everything there and I was just able to pop off from there. So thus, we went into the second Alpha Knights of the game, securing the victory. Now, let me tell y'all right now, being 4-0 to BCS, I was genuinely so scared because of what I was playing next. Bavsargra. This was, in my opinion, the hardest match of the whole tournament for me. I didn't have the rush play when I opened it up, and my opponent whipped out a world finalist energy generator, so I was just completely intimidated by what was in front of me. And I honestly got too locked in, and I guess into a flow state that I honestly don't remember much of the details of this game, but I can tell you how I won. So we were trading blows back and forth to the point where we almost went into time and there was a crowd watching to see what happened.
The details of this game are, like I said, are a bit rocky, but on the previous turn before I won, I hit a heal at 5 damage to put me to 4. And he held his 4 attacks until I was a lower hand, but in exchange, he had no Persona Ride. So, on his first attack on his final turn, he boosts the restanding dragon with his Trick Moon, and I take the 5 damage, hit a trigger, and was able to guard easily because on his triple drive, he only saw 1 trigger. And having boosted with the Trick Moon earlier, the restand was easier to defend. Then, on my turn, I was able to get off 5 attacks with Vygrilla Alpha Knights, and with how thin my deck was, I hit 3 triggers on an Alpha Knight's turn, including 2 criticals, securing the victory. But man, was that the hardest match of the tournament. We actually legit traded blows back and forth, and I talked to my opponent after, and like, it was honestly one of the best games of Vanguard I've ever been a part of. And if I was recording, I think you guys would agree as well. We actually traded back and forth, like, I was mentally dead. And now, round 6. Round 6, we are up against Heartluru, going second. Going second against Heartluru, I think, is such an advantage for this deck, in my opinion, because of one simple reason. They don't get the full extent of their combos in place to get ahead and push you because you're not at grade 3. Then, after his first wave of attacks, I thought I was behind because I didn't have Alpha Knights, but I did have Ezreal. Then, he blocks my Vanguard with a 2 to pass. And then, I check over trigger, thus restanding my Rewrite the Star Vygrilla, and on the second swing check, a critical trigger. With this power output, we survived. And it was hard to get his deck going because I generated so much advantage to secure the Alpha Knights when the turn was back to me, thus securing a 6-0. At this point in the tournament, man, we reached table 1, and we are up against Bavsargra in round 7. Now, at this point, we were guaranteed a top 32 spot, but Bavsargra was the only blemish to my record of the day. But after that, I felt good because of the undefeated curse. It's October, it's spooky season, and I did not want to be caught up in that madness. I want to give a shout out though to my opponent, Tucker from North Carolina. He's on the Team Crow's Nest and was one of the coolest people I met through the whole tournament. And we had a really cool conversation about something that's going on in my life that I hope to share with y'all one day. Wink, wink. But yeah, after that, we were Swiss. We were 6-1 and 3rd place heading into Top Cut. Who would have thought we would jump 354 places from the last time I was in Rosemont? But yeah, after that, we passed deck check and we're ready to move on into top 32. Then, in top 32, we are up against the man, the myth, the legend, the Orfist player. I actually go first and get off a really good rush having the Ace unit, Cabbage, and I even check my OT on turn 2 to push him to 5 damage early. And just like I said in my deck profile,
that, and then 1 copy of I win the game if I check this turn 2.
But my overconfidence got the best of me. And I did have a perfect guard on his turn 3, so when he Orfist masked with 5 attacks, and 3 damage from his Vanguard attack, securing him the win and thus ending our BCS tournament run. And yeah, that's how it ended. I'm actually like spooked because I've never actually played against Orfist in a BCS, and props to that guy for taking it as far as he did. It's definitely a surprise to see it, and yeah. When the dust settled, I finished 18th place overall. I am so grateful. Although we didn't get first, since I started uploading again, I always like to vlog and share my story of how I'm working my way through the top, whether that's through Premium Vanguard projects, Sealed Only Vanguard, or just playing the game overall. And I did not think I would get a top returning to the game this fast, especially one as clean as getting 3rd after Swiss at a BCS high-level tournament, competing for a World Championship on the line. And it is because of that, I just want to say a quick thank you to you, the viewer, for still supporting me. I really love making this content and telling y'all how my Vanguard experience is going. And I honestly think any content that gets out there that's quality and tells a really good story helps grow this great game with positive enforcement and storytelling that people can not just relate to but learn from. And that's the reason why I wanted to get this up so quickly. And I really enjoyed getting to meet some of y'all this weekend who came up to me, especially my opponent in round 2 playing Chronojet, you know, or the person who asked me to sign their playmat as winning image. And somebody who I played in Premium Tournament said they watched Premium Vanguard Project, and that meant the world to me. Like, Premium Vanguard Project is a series that I started just out of my love for the game, and the fact that y'all see the passion and energy that I put into Premium Vanguard Project means so much to me. And that's not just one of y'all, that's multiple of y'all. And then I also got to meet some of y'all who are asking, where's Sealed Only Vanguard the deck? Well, good news for y'all, that wasn't the last BCS I'm attending. I also want to give a shout out to the creators I met. I finally got to meet Team Absolution after messaging them for the first time when I was 14 years old. I finally met him when I was 24. I always love meeting Commander Jaime in person. I really think that if the tournament wasn't limited to 2 days, we could be talking about YouTube and whatnot forever. Vancol40, Robbie, my Vanguardians admin, head person of Vanguards. We actually even played in premium and he kind of smoked me. Always good seeing him. WCC Albert. Rion Skyridge, viewer of this channel, came up to me. He said hi. It was really nice meeting you, dude. Outer Orange, we made a quick trade for the Lyrical Shield. I traded my Lyrical Shield for her Branch Shield. It's really good because we both play that deck. The decks that we swapped. And Entropy Vanguard. It was my first time ever meeting him in person, and I was actually really excited to meet him. Entropy Vanguard is actually a Vanguard tuber that I watch regularly. I really enjoy his content just because of how raw it is. You know, how like I kind of edit and kind of control that narrative in the sense. His content's so raw, and I really recommend it if y'all like Vanguard vlogs because I think he does a great job as well. And lastly, too, Domino Paris 21 and I Am Vanguard. Man, those two are legends to me. We stayed together, we ran out the weekend, and congrats to I Am Vanguard on his top as well. And I got to play against Domino Paris 21, which y'all will see on this channel into the future. Now, the question is, where do we go from here? Well, join me at the next BCS as I welcome y'all to the land where just don't stop. Trunks pop, tops drop, and a fun unlocks. My city, my forever home, and where I accomplish so much of my dreams. See y'all at BCS Houston. Peace.